Hey everyone, Nigel and Luke here, and welcome to Crime Zone.
Representatives from the Michigan State Police say that a 40-year-old alleged lottery ticket thief won't be taking home any cash this week, but still earned himself a rather unique prize from his stolen scratch cards, a one-way ticket to jail. According to reports, the incident began at around 1:35 a.m. on September 9th, when state troopers responded to a burglary alarm at JoJo's Refresh Stop convenience store located on West Midland Road in the city of Auburn. They arrived to find that the place had been robbed. The culprit had taken 2 packs of cigarettes, $50 in cash, and about $2,000 worth of lottery scratch cards. While surveillance camera footage of the crime had been captured, it alone wasn't super helpful to police. This is because the male suspect had worn a hooded sweatshirt, mask, and gloves to avoid being recognized. However, one of the store's employees was fairly certain that she recognized the robber. The employee explained that earlier that night before closing time, one of the store's regulars had come in and stayed longer than usual, making her uncomfortable. Not only that, he'd been asking some strange questions about scratch tickets. In particular, he wanted to know what would happen if he tried to redeem a winning ticket that hadn't first been scanned at the time of purchase. The man's name was Daniel Stellmacher II. A few hours after the robbery, the owner of JoJo's Refresh Shop called police again to report that she had seen Stellmacher walking near the store wearing the same clothes as a suspect caught on surveillance video. Not only that, but he had allegedly tried to redeem a $100 winning scratch ticket at another nearby convenience store. Stellmacher had been turned away and told there was a technical issue with the ticket because the owner had called and warned other convenience stores in the area to be on the lookout for stolen tickets. A short time later, police spoke to Stellmacher, who claimed that he had found the winning ticket he tried to redeem on the ground. However, when a search warrant was obtained and executed at the 40-year-old's home, police were reportedly able to recover at least one of the scratch tickets he had stolen from JoJo's. They also found flaky debris in multiple places that matched the material from scratch-off lottery tickets. Stellmacher was arrested and has now been charged with breaking and entering a building with intent to commit larceny. If convicted, he could reportedly be looking at up to 10 years in prison.
Customers and employees at a New York City McDonald's were decidedly not loving it this week when a fight broke out at one of the company's restaurants, escalating significantly when one of the participants pulled out a hatchet and went on a destructive rampage while threatening multiple people. According to reports, the situation unfolded just before 2:30 a.m. on September 16th at a McDonald's location on Delancey Street on Manhattan's Lower East Side. It allegedly began when a 31-year-old man, later identified as Michael Palacios, started trying to chat up a young woman who was with a group of friends. Witnesses say that the woman was not interested in talking with Palacios and was very straightforward about this. However, he was allegedly persistent. He kept trying to talk to her and ask for her number, and according to several people, was visibly drunk. At some point, this apparently caused an altercation between Palacios and some of the woman's male friends, who reportedly tried to intervene in the situation. Things turned physical, and soon 3 of these men began throwing punches at Palacios, who was pinned between a wall and some garbage bins. It seemed like Palacios was remaining calm until the punches stopped, at which point he took a few steps, bent down, and unzipped his backpack. He then pulled out a hatchet. With the hatchet in hand, Palacios proceeded to smash 2 of the restaurant's tables to pieces before shattering a glass partition wall. He then started waving the weapon around, cornering some of the people who had just attacked him and threatening them with it. Amazingly, no one was hurt, and Palacios soon decided to leave of his own accord. He fled the scene on his bike, but was later tracked down by police and arrested following a short chase. Palacios is now facing several charges, including criminal mischief, criminal possession of a weapon, and 3 counts of menacing, though apparently has already been released without bail. Following his release, Palacios reportedly appeared to gloat about his situation on Instagram, posting a photo of the incident that had been recorded and saying in part, quote, "They took me to the hospital and then jail, and now I'm out. Some of you want me to go to jail. Already did. Haha. So have a great day."
A Authorities in Dawson County, Georgia say that a 22-year-old man is facing a number of charges this week after he attacked a man with a machete at a local Waffle House before leading police on a chase on a stolen motorcycle. According to reports, the situation unfolded at around 10 p.m. on September 12th in the parking lot of a Waffle House on Center Lane in the city of Dawsonville. While it's unclear exactly how the incident began, we know that it allegedly involved 22-year-old Zachary Miller attacking another man with a machete and hitting him in the head. While thankfully the victim was not seriously injured, the situation escalated further from here when Miller reportedly stole a motorcycle and used it to flee the scene. He was then chased by police through 2 counties, ending when Miller crashed his stolen vehicle near a church on Price Road in Hall County. When Miller was searched after the crash, police found crushed pills on him, believed to be Xanax, as well as 3 baggies containing methamphetamine. Following a visit to the hospital, Miller was slapped with a slew of charges, including armed robbery, aggravated assault, possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute, possession of tools for the commission of a crime, fleeing and eluding a police officer, and driving under the influence of drugs. At the time of this recording, Miller is being held without bond at the Dawson County Detention Center.
Authorities in Marion County, Florida say that a self-described sociopath is in custody and is facing 2 charges of attempted murder this week after she allegedly tried to kill both of her roommates and then went out on a casual shopping trip as if nothing had happened. According to reports, the incident began at around 8 a.m. on September 16th when deputies from the Marion County Sheriff's Office responded to a 911 call from a man in the Leeward Air Ranch subdivision, located a short drive southeast of the city of Ocala. The man said that he had been stabbed and was, quote, fading fast. When officers arrived at the scene, they discovered that there were, in fact, 2 victims, the man who had originally called them, plus a woman. Both had sustained multiple serious stab wounds, but were able to give police the name of their attacker before being rushed to the hospital. They claimed that it had been their roommate, 30-year-old Christina Ann Adams. Not long after, police were able to stop Adams in her car just a short distance away from the crime scene. Though Adams initially denied any involvement in the stabbings, according to investigators, she eventually offered a chilling confession. Adams reportedly told police that she had planned to kill her roommates ever since they informed her that she would have to move out 2 months prior. She hadn't done anything at the time they initially brought the subject up, but on the morning of the attacks, one of the victims allegedly told Adams that the time had come and they wanted her moved out by the following day. After this conversation, Adams reportedly put on long pants, a jacket, gloves, and shoe covers, then grabbed a 9-inch long knife and some sort of taser pen. She then attacked both the male and female victims, stabbing each of them numerous times until she believed that they were dead. At this point, Adams allegedly attempted to clean up the crime scene, throwing several items in the washing machine, changing her clothes, and washing her knife in a bucket full of bleach. She then left the residence as if nothing had happened, traveling to a grocery store before meeting up with someone else to go shopping. She was on her way home when she was stopped by police. During questioning, Adams reportedly told officers that she's a sociopath and believes that she has an undiagnosed dissociative identity disorder. She has now been charged with 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder, as well as tampering with evidence. At the time of this recording, both of Adams's victims reportedly remain in the hospital in critical condition. Neither of them have been identified by name.
Authorities in Mojave County, Arizona say that they were left with more questions than answers this week after they were called to the scene of an alleged burglary only for the case to take an unexpected turn. The incident began at around 3:30 a.m. on September 10th when police were called to a residence on the 100 block of Palm Avenue in Bullhead City with reports of a possible burglary in progress. Sure enough, when officers arrived at the scene, they found signs of forced entry. They also found their suspect, 65-year-old Christine Lee Walters, rummaging around inside, apparently grabbing a number of items. However, that wasn't all that police found. While conducting a broader search of the property, they also uncovered a chilling surprise: a mummified body in a bathtub inside one of the home's washrooms. When questioned about the remains, Walters pleaded ignorance. She said she had no idea anything like that was in there. She reportedly said she had just been in there to steal items that she could sell online. Witnesses said that on at least one other occasion 2 days prior, Walters had also been going in and out of the property, carrying purses, bags, and clothing. Neighbors told police that they thought that the homeowner who previously lived at the residence had moved out because they hadn't seen her for roughly a year and the place had been left vacant. When a search warrant was obtained for Walters' car and home, police uncovered more items believed to belong to the homeowner, as well as a number of her documents, including her birth certificate, IRS paperwork, driver's license, and credit cards. They also found some methamphetamine and drug paraphernalia. Walters is now facing 2 counts of burglary in connection with the incident. However, authorities say more may be coming. At the time of this recording, many questions remain unanswered about the bizarre case. Police say that they're still working to identify the mummified remains found in the bathtub and are currently unsure how long they were there before being discovered. It's also unclear what, if any, connection Walters has to the homeowner, or whether the homeowner is the deceased person who was found in the residence. The situation is still developing.
Representatives from Florida's Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office are commending a young fast food restaurant employee for his courage this week after he came to the aid of a mother and her baby who were being carjacked by a 43-year-old man. According to reports, the incident began sometime on September 14th when the suspect, later identified as 43-year-old William Branch, approached the victim and her infant in the parking lot of a Chick-fil-A restaurant in the city of Fort Walton Beach. As the mother was busy trying to get her baby out of the vehicle, Branch allegedly began waving a stick at her and demanding her car keys. He then grabbed the keys from her waistband and opened her car door to get inside. That's when the woman began screaming for help. Upon hearing the commotion and realizing what was happening, one of the fast food restaurant's employees, a young man named Michael Gordon, immediately sprung into action. He reportedly ran at Branch without a second thought, and after a brief struggle where he was punched in the face, managed to place Branch in a headlock and take him to the ground. Once subdued, Branch apparently stopped struggling and waited for police to arrive and place him under arrest. He has now been charged with carjacking with a weapon and battery. The female victim and her baby were both uninjured. Though Michael has understandably been praised for his actions in the aftermath of this week's incident, it turns out that this is not the first time he's actually been in a situation like this. According to reports, back in September of 2018, he was working the drive-thru at the same Chick-fil-A restaurant when a crane fell onto a vehicle on a nearby road. Just like he did this week, Michael immediately dropped what he was doing and ran to help. He was apparently one of the first to arrive at the scene and ended up carrying one of the vehicle's passengers from the wreck. According to the operator of the Chick-fil-A restaurant in Fort Walton Beach, Michael has been working for the company for 14 years. He described him as an outstanding team member, and speaking about this week's incident, said, quote, "I couldn't be prouder of his incredible act of care."
Authorities in Youngstown, Ohio say that a nearly 5-year-long search for a missing woman has come to a tragic end this week after her remains were recently discovered by chance in a local wooded area. According to reports, 29-year-old Amy Hambrick was last seen on November 11, 2017, when she left her home to visit friends in North Jackson. She never arrived, and despite an active search effort and an investigation being launched by police, no trace of Amy could be found. That all changed on August 26th of this year, when a woman who was searching for her missing dog stumbled across some bones wrapped in cloth in a wooden area off of Thornhill Road. While it wasn't immediately clear if the bones were human or not, the remains were taken away for analysis. Dental records eventually proved that they were those of Amy Hambrick. While this means that Amy is no longer missing, the chilling find leaves many questions unanswered. Authorities say that so far they have not been able to determine the young mother's cause of death, and that due to the state her remains were in when they were found, they're not even sure when she died or how long she had been there for. At the time of this recording, police say that they're still investigating and that they hope more breakthroughs will follow. The situation is still developing.
Authorities in Harris County, Texas say that there has been a major development in a disturbing cold case this week, announcing the arrest of a suspect in the murders of a local family of 4 that has terrified the community for more than 8.5 years. According to reports, the incident began all the way back on January 30th of 2014, when a chilling discovery was made at the home of the Sun family in the community of Cypress. After being called to conduct a welfare check, a deputy from the local sheriff's office arrived to find that the rear kitchen door was open. Upon entering, the deputy found all 4 members of the family dead. It turned out that Mao Ye's son, his wife Mei Shi, and their 2 young sons, 9-year-old Timothy and 7-year-old Titus, had all been shot execution style in the head. The crime completely stunned members of the local community, as well as the Sun family's friends and neighbors. All of them were well liked in the area, and no one could think of any reason why they would have been selected as the victims of such a horrific crime. What was worse, soon weeks and months began to pass, with few, if any, developments in the case. Though a $70,000 reward was eventually offered for information that would solve the murders, no such information emerged. That was reportedly more or less the last that anyone heard about the terrible crime. However, police now say that for years, their investigation has been slowly making progress. On September 11th, authorities say that they were finally able to arrest a suspect in connection with the case, a 58-year-old man named Feng Liu. Liu was reportedly taken into custody in the San Francisco Bay Area after he arrived back in the United States on a flight from China. While no official motive has been released by investigators, multiple reports we came across now claim that the murders were a result of a professional dispute between Liu and Mao Ye's son. According to these reports, at the time of the crime, the men were co-workers at a Houston oil and gas company. Things soured between them when Liu applied for a promotion at work and asked Sun to put in a recommendation for him, which Liu was later told by someone that he had not done. Liu confronted Sun, who insisted that he had pushed for him, though by this point, Liu apparently did not believe him. He later claimed that the following day at work, he noticed that his co-workers were treating him differently, and took this as a sign that Sun had further disparaged him to people at the company. According to investigators, on January 23, 2014, just a few days before the murders, Liu purchased a handgun and 50 rounds of ammunition. They now believe that this is the weapon that Liu used to carry out the killings of the Sun family. He reportedly returned the gun to the same store several weeks later, only by this point, it was missing its barrel. When asked about the weapon, Liu reportedly claimed that he had returned it because his wife was angry about him having a gun in the house. He further stated that she had thrown away the barrel to illustrate to him how upset she was. However, when Liu's wife was questioned by authorities, she said she didn't even know about the gun until they had asked her about it. The most crucial piece of evidence linking Liu to the case is DNA evidence taken from a purse belonging to Mei Shi at the 2014 crime scene. Apparently, the DNA is a match to Liu, but was not able to be isolated until recently, thanks to advances in new forensics technology. The evidence is particularly damning because Liu had previously claimed that he did not know Sun's family and had never been to their house. At the time of this recording, Liu is now facing capital murder charges in connection with the killings and is being held in a San Francisco Bay Area jail until he can be extradited to Texas. Before we wrap up, we'd like to take a minute to thank our amazing supporters over on Patreon. As many of you are aware, our situation on YouTube always seems to be a bit uncertain, but our patrons help to ensure that we can continue to make content like this long term without having to worry as much about what surprises might be thrown our way. Plus, patrons also get access to 4 additional stories per week for each of our Crimes of the Week and Crimes of the Week International videos. If you'd like to help support the channel directly, head over to patreon.com/crimezone to join. You can also find that link in the description below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and take care.